It's January in Athens, about to be signing day next week, and it's a big recruiting weekend for the Dogs. This is something that we talk about a lot over on Dog Post, obviously, having been in the game for some time now, and in the recruiting game, I should say, about 22 years. Um, and Georgia's having a big weekend. I want to go over some of the names right now of the guys that are there, and the bulk of these guys are 2023 or 2024 guys. And I've got some stuff to say about folks I've been talking with this this week, month, whatever you want to call it. But let's talk about the recruiting now. Before that, make certain that you're buying DAWGSTRUCTION is right down below. The players that we're talking about right now or coming up in this video are going to be guys that very certainly could be in a book one day, written by Dog Post and Dean Legge. So this one though covers Georgia's national championship 2021. I don't know if you've heard that the Georgia Bulldogs won the national championship this past year. And we've got a commemorative book for you. Commemorative is easy for me to say. Click it down below. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. And it will get to your mailbox probably in early March, but maybe late May, late February. Let's talk about a couple of these guys. You got a five-star running back, Reuben Owens, who is considered the number two prospect in the country as a consensus from everybody. Excuse me, number two running back in the country by everybody. And you know that's a spot Georgia's going to need some help sooner than later at running back. And when you think about Georgia, running backs are like one of the first things that you think about in terms of their ability to get to produce at a position. Obviously Herschel, but not even him. I mean, Thomas Brown, Todd Gurley, Noshawn, Hampton. Uh, I'm gonna forget. I'm not gonna name enough guys. So I'm just gonna skip Garrison Hurst and Nick Chubb, Sony Michelle, etc. But that's a spot where guys are attracted to Georgia for whatever reason. And other schools have had really good running backs. Alabama certainly has. Texas has had good running backs. USC has had good running backs. But for some reason, when people think running back and they think Georgia, those things are like peanut butter and jelly, and they just go together. Um, for Owens, he's been um, he's been to Athens. That Carolina weekend of this past year was a big weekend in the recruiting world. Owens was here. Arch Manning was here. I was about to call him Eli. Arch Manning was here. So it's been that was an important weekend. Watching what happens with Owens, you're talking about a guy that's not going to make a decision anytime soon. But he's been to Athens more than a couple of times. I think this is his third trip minimum to Athens. So he's coming all the way from Texas, but at the same time, he's certainly one to watch. We'll see how that one goes. Uh, Zion Reagan's, eh, you know, a wide receiver, 2024. You're getting a lot of younger guys, 2024 guys who, their dads played football in college this century. That's not necessarily the case with this young man, but 2024, those guys were pretty young. But this guy has been, the big thing with him is speed. He's caught 63 passes for about 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. But um, you know, one of the fastest guys in the state. He won the 100 and 200 and 5A, not the region, but the uh, the statewide from Jones County, which is where Todd Hartley's from. So Todd Hartley's one of the best recruiters from Georgia. I would keep an eye on him. I think they're the Greyhounds. Is that right? No, they're something, whatever they are. Kelby Collins, a D line from Alabama, is in town. Landon Thomas, 2024. Um, Speaking of Todd Hartley, another tight end here. Um, Zachariah Owens from Eagles Landing Christian in South Atlanta, offensive lineman. T.A. Cunningham. There are a lot of guys that are on campus right now, and or at least are scheduled to be on campus right now. And you're seeing the ramifications of the national championship coming into fruition with recruiting. This is the time of year, this sort of middle to late January, where everybody's on the road or flying in Kirby's case and the head coach's cases. But guys get bored and they want to talk. And this week, I've had, I think, about 3 hours of phone calls um, this week of just guys being bored. So naturally, they'll get on the phone with me because they won't answer all the other times of year. I get it because they're busy, but they're bored now. And the one thing you take from the conversation is really how important the national championship, the potential of the recruiting now that Georgia won the national championship can be. I mean, when you talk with coaches around college football, they acknowledge that what happened earlier this month could be really devastating for, Florida is going to have a hard time coming back from that. Not that Georgia and Florida really hit each other over the head in the recruiting world, but really Auburn is the one that there's a lot of skepticism about their position in the marketplace, as it were, of recruiting. And when you see this weekend, there's not like the ratings and the rankings and the stars and all that. That's a little bit early right now. And I know coaches love to roll their eyes at stars, but it's just one indicator of guys being good or not good. But Georgia's got a couple of, at minimum, two-star prospects that are not even in the current recruiting cycle. Keep in mind that signing day is Wednesday coming up. So the the amount of guys that you're going to attract, if you're Georgia from here on out, is going to continue to be national. It's going to continue to, and that's going to continue to hurt folks around Georgia. So I think Auburn is the most directly affected by Georgia and Alabama being in power. I don't think it takes a rocket surgeon to realize that, but you're really seeing it now. And um, I I don't know. Tennessee is having a harder time than you would like, but Auburn and Florida particularly. I'm not even going to talk about Georgia Tech because they're just completely irrelevant in this realm. But you're seeing the manifestation of folks watching Georgia win the national championship. 23, 24, and 25 classes are the ones that it's really going to pay dividends with. And I think, to me, that's one of the most important things about this. That was used against Georgia consistently, and that's one thing that I heard this week too, is that it's going to be harder to say, oh, they can't win the big one, or they won't win the big one, or their offense isn't, you don't want to go play in that offense. That's getting used against people like Clemson now. I mean, that Clemson is one program that Georgia recruits again. See, the problem is Georgia doesn't recruit against any one program. I guess it would be Alabama more than anybody, but like, here and there, it can be Clemson, it could be Texas in theory, Ohio State certainly, but I'd say it's more Alabama than anybody right this second. But even then, it's not singularly Alabama. But one person I was talking to was saying that his concern as it relates to Clemson was that the lack of offense this past season for Clemson has been something that could get used against them. There's a lot of transition at Clemson right now. Let's watch to see what happens this spring, and certainly this fall at quarterback. Um, is there transition there too? So but I think, this is a big recruiting weekend in Athens. They always are in late January. This is not big for the 2022 class, which is all but sewn up, but it is huge for 23, 24, and 25. And keep an eye on those names. I mean, this is a Georgia program that, in particular, T.A. Cunningham and the running back out of Texas, Reuben Owens. Those are two guys that you know you're gonna want to track over time. And the question is, well, I mean, obviously they can get to Georgia because Ruben has been to Georgia. This is at least the third time. Well, he told us um, coming into this week, and he said, Coach McGee is my guy. I really like his passion and how much he cares for his players. It's more than football with him. And you can read more about it at Dog Post. But they offer Georgia. Coach McGee, Dale McGee offered him and offered Owens when he was in ninth grade. There he's um, he's definitely someone to keep an eye on as we proceed through to the 23 class. A high level running back is something Georgia's gonna need to get in 23 because they're I obviously just lost the two guys they thought they were going to lose, but it's these other guys you got to replace guys, and the more gifted the better. Hey, look, make certain that you're checking out the link right down below. Thanks for listening to me whine on about recruiting. I know a lot of y'all are not big recruiting folks, but those of you who are, you need to take advantage of Dog Post right now. You can always sign up for 1 month for $1. You can get that over on the website. Grab the book while you're at it. Thanks for watching.